You're listening to the Breakaway Wealth Podcast, the show that helps you build wealth faster, think outside the box, and break out of the herd. Here's your host, Jim Oliver.
Welcome back, Breakaway Wealth. I'm your host, Jim Oliver, and with me today, Jonie Fader. Welcome, Jonie.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Jonie, before we get started, because I'm excited to talk to you and have the audience hear what you have to say, but introduce yourself to the audience before we get rolling.
Awesome. Well, I am Jonie Fader. I am from South Central Nebraska. Spent 20 years in Montana and moved back home here about 10 years ago. I am married to my high school sweetheart for 39 years. We have 3 adult children, 2 grandkids, and everything about grandparenting that you hear is so true. It is just wonderful. I have a teaching, coaching, and sports medicine background, but I did spend most of my adult life in the sales and marketing field. Got back into coaching probably 15, 20 years ago while still working my other ventures, and had a little bit of an awakening. And so struggled a little bit connecting with the kids, and that sent me on a search for a tool to help me along the way. But it's been very rewarding, and I'm excited to share it with you today.
Perfect. I love coaching. I love teaching. I always tell people, and the audience has heard me say this a million times, is I hated school, but I love to learn.
Yeah.
And what I hate about school is sitting in a classroom for, 55 minutes out of every hour and then doing it again and doing it again and doing it again and doing 10 minutes of work in 55 minutes. That drives me crazy. It's not good for my brain. I also say that if somebody paid me $10 million a year to be a preschool teacher, I would not take it. Couldn't do it. I know I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So anyway, well, tell us what you're doing now and what you want to share with the audience.
Yeah, I want to share a tool that I found to help with coaching, but it
Okay.
also helped in businesses and in corporate America. And the tool's called Dignify. And Joe Kittinger developed it, and it was a very unique. It's not a personality assessment. When I came back into coaching, I found myself, probably like a lot of coaches, a half or 3/4 of the season has gone by and you just figured out what motivated that kid.
Right.
You spend all this time guessing.
Yeah.
And so I was looking for a tool that would reveal that motivational language of that player. What
Yeah.
is that culture that they want to be in? How do they receive my feedback? Well, through a series of circumstances and me searching for a tool, and I've looked at all of them that you could think of, and none of them really stuck with the kids until I found Dignify, and now the kids drive it. Well, lo and behold, Joe Kittinger, it was doing it in corporate America, so he does the corporate side. I am training and coaches, so I set out to do these pilot programs, worked with high school teams, college teams, males, females, it didn't matter, and was blown away how the kids were valued. And I think it's a lost art, is valuing people for who they are. And I needed help with that. I don't do well in guessing. I I tell people I'm a recovering workaholic because I'll work it, and I can do the X's and O's, I can do the tasks, but sometimes connecting with the human being was a struggle for me because I'm so task orientated. So Dignify bridged that gap for me, and it gave me, if you will, I don't want to sound cold when I say this, but it gave me an instruction manual to how to motivate and communicate with each individual athlete.
So this is mostly for
Nope. We do it in corporate America. Organizations hire Dignify to come in and do culture work, communication work, vision work. What's the vision of the company? Get everybody on the right seat of the bus, contributing their strengths and everything that's great about them to the vision and mission of the company. I just adapted it for sports.
Oh, okay. Okay. How do people find, is it dignify.com?
Yep. Dignify.com.
All
Yep.
right. I'm there. I
Yeah,
just wanted to see if I was on the right spot.
Yep, that's the corporate platform right now, and we are working on developing the sports platform. Like I said, we did a bunch of beta testing, trying it in different sports, males, females, and it didn't matter. And then we brought the families in because the parents were how did you motivate my child? How did you empower them to take personal responsibility? Well, they did the 10-minute survey and it kicked out and it taught me how they wanted to be communicated with. What's their real drivers, right? The greatness that's in them, they get to choose those top 5 and then tell me what they mean by it. So it took all the guesswork out.
Yeah.
And so it gives me that instruction manual for each kid. And yeah, so I don't have to guess anymore, and it teaches decision making for people, the team. Drama went away, team unity happened, and that does corporate America or sports, either one. We
Yeah.
have found
Yeah.
that.
No, I love that. I coached baseball, football, and wrestling for about 15 years.
Okay.
And what motivates. So what I always say, I don't know what you think of this quote, but I love the quote that says you can't motivate anybody. All you can do is create an atmosphere to where they motivate themselves.
Yep.
And I remember, back being in business in the late 80s, just, young, 22 years old, and somebody would say, "Oh, we're going to go to a Brian Tracy training or a Tony
Mhm.
Robbins or Zig Ziglar or something." And I'd say, "Well, what are they going to do? They're going to like motivate you, like motivate me." I never understood like why somebody has to get up and motivate me. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like I'm
Yep.
motivated. Trust me. I had 2 kids
Yeah.
and I was motivated.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I
I didn't
agree. I
need
think
motivation.
that's right. And I think too is I always tell the kids, even in corporate America, when I did those trainings, Joe does primarily those now, but
Yeah.
I'm not here to babysit. I'm here to
Right.
empower. And
So
what
the kids that this is good for, obviously athletes and I want you to tell me the 1, 2, or 3 things that athletes see or that you see in athletes that maybe you can change because I've studied a lot of the mental game of golf and I've read all the Bob Rotella stuff and I've actually
Mhm.
had a coach that helped me with the mental game, and it's all about the things that identity, like how do you see yourself, like are you like with golf, are you an aggressive golfer,
Mhm.
a smart, cautious golfer, are you aggressive, are you more passive, whatever, and then once you kind of accept that and it's really getting up there and knowing how to hit that shot and believing and having a process, right? And so and I've read a lot about Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan and their preparation and everything
Mhm.
else. So maybe that's the first thing is I guess I'll just stop there and I'll just ask you like what are the things that you see and then you see somebody before they work with Dignify and then after they work with Dignify.
Right. Yeah, what I see the biggest thing is kind of like you have the infinite banking concept. This is an infinite dignity concept.
Love it.
So they are for Infinity now, they have a tool which they chose what motivates them. Here's your top 5 drivers. There's 56 known positive character traits buried in all of our subconscious. The survey, it's not an evaluation or assessment, it's a survey. The survey guides people to choose what really drives them, the top 5 drivers, and what they mean by that. So when a kid or an adult does that, they see their drivers, they tell us what they mean by it, it shows how they want to be communicated with, and then it tells us how they filter feedback. So when you go back to that, identifying and know, like, yes, using your golf analogy, I'm an aggressive golfer. So I speak control country language, black and white, get her done, task orientated, aggressive. But when I go to swing my irons, I've got to do that out of peace country.
Right.
Not overthink it, not try to power it, let the club do the work. Well,
Yeah.
with athletes, one, they're valued. They're valued in front of the whole team, they're self-valued. They now can start depositing dignity into themselves
Right.
because it kicks out a me page and it's everything that's great about you. We live in a world that's constantly telling us everything that's not great, right?
Yeah.
We have a system that A, B, C, D. How did you do? You failed. You're done. I have the same belief system. Let's love to learn.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
homeschooled our kids for a while, not because I was anti public school system, but I wanted to give them a love for learning that would last a lifetime. With Dignify, it gives the kids a tool as well. They can make dignity deposits. They can see everything that's great about them. So we share snapshots on our team. It's now on the app. The kids are constantly dignifying one another. They see what's great about one another, even in the adult corporate America world. Here's what's great about you. When I communicate with you, Jim, I'd pull up your snapshot and communicate in your language, pulling out what's great. Now we're empowering one another. So what it did for me, the biggest thing I saw is kids were like, "Oh my goodness, I didn't realize." When you pull that greatness out of them and they're depositing dignity in themselves, now we've empowered them.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what they see on social media or somebody criticize something, because they know who they are. That was the biggest thing.
So does this work with, first of all, let me just say this comment. One thing, and I just want your, like, what you've seen is, I really don't like when older people say, these kids today, they don't, because, there's so many things that kids not only know that we never had any clue about,
Right,
right?
right.
Because of technology,
Yep,
but
yep.
but also there are things that they struggle with that we really never had to deal with, right?
Right,
I mean, we
right.
never had to deal with when somebody came over to your house, you were either home or you weren't home. And if they called you, you either answered the phone or you didn't. And we didn't even have an answering machine. So, like, oh, I tried to call you. I wasn't here, like, whatever. It's like, now it's like, hey, I just texted you an emoji and you didn't respond. What's
Responded.
wrong? Are you okay? Are we
Right,
still dating? What's going
right,
on?
right.
And it's like, I don't, I mean, as a 60-year-old man who was single for the last 4 years, I didn't like it. I can't imagine being an attractive teenage girl and having to deal with that crap. Because I assume girls have to deal with it more than boys. I don't know, but uh, but again, so tell me a little bit about what you see in this generation. Is the world ending like it was going to in the 1960s, the 1970s, the 1980s, the 1990s?
Well, I will tell you that I too thought girls would have the biggest struggle through those
Yeah,
teen years and even into college. I could tell you story after story of working with college football players. Yeah, that was an eye opener.
yeah,
That was back before we had the app and the technology we have now. We were
yeah,
doing Dignify with them, and boy, did it make the biggest difference. And a lot of Dignify on the corporate side is blue collar companies.
yeah,
What I learned too is the second biggest thing is parents had no idea what their kids' motivational language was. Some of
yeah.
the most moving times is we put the parents and the kids together. I do a little 30-minute presentation, and then the parent reads the dignity story to their kid.
Mm,
And it's everything that's right about their kid. It doesn't what we found, it doesn't matter if it's male or female. Everybody wants to be dignified and valued for who they are. Some research shows us that when we, uh, even if it's unintentionally, violate or step on somebody's dignity, it's
yeah,
their body responds like a knife wielding attack.
yeah, yeah,
Right? So as a
yeah.
coach, right? As a coach, college kids, high school kids, it doesn't matter. Even in adult corporate world, when we go in those coaching situations, most of the time it's unintentional. Like no boss wakes up or coach wakes up every day and say, "I'm gonna attack so and so."
Sure. Yeah,
It's all unintentional, but the physiological response to the recipient is the same.
yeah,
It was heartbreaking. Didn't know my athletes well enough, and to take 3/4 of the season and I'm like, "Ooh, I said that to Susie Q and it tinged her value." Now
yeah,
I don't have to worry about it. I think the second biggest shift I've seen, so it gave me relief as a leader, right? And now I'm bringing
yeah,
full potential out of them, but yet empowering them to carry that forward themselves.
yeah.
The second thing is to use your verbiage, it's an asset shift.
Sure. Yeah,
It's right. Our mind is our biggest asset.
yeah. Exactly.
So
Yep.
if I can help a person shift their asset to what's great about them, what do they
Yep.
have to offer the team? Where do
Yep.
they fit in? then drama goes away on the team. And 2, they're empowered now.
No, what I really like about this is, so let me ask you a question. Okay. Forget about being an athlete again
Okay.
for, like I've raised 4 kids or, one's 17. So she's pretty much raised, but she's
Yeah.
living with her dad right now in Iowa. But, really 4 kids. And my fiance has 4 kids, 2 that are
Ah,
19 and 21, but she's got 2 that are 16 and 10. Okay.
yeah.
So, when I think about this is the second time that I've blended families, and I
Yeah.
know that there's always a challenge with that. And I'm trying to figure out how to be the man in the family without being, the wicked stepdad. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yeah.
like, is this a tool that would be good for me to have them do? And then me to understand how they see themselves and
Mhm.
to be able to communicate with them better?
Well, that's actually how Dignify was birthed. Joe
Really?
Kinning Joe Kinninger had a stepson, Alex, and when Alex hit about that 12 to 14, Joe was struggling connecting with him. And so one day they're playing Monopoly, and Monopoly, okay, well, it tells us how to interact with Park Place.
Yeah.
So Joe was like, "I wonder if I could develop something that told me how to interact with Alex, so I could connect with him." So that's how it was all developed. And now it gave him right. And now Alex took the survey, pulled out his top 5 motivations, here how I want to be communicated with, and boom, it was how to interact with Alex. And that was the birth of Dignify.
Does it take to do the snapshot?
10 minutes tops.
Really? Okay.
Mhm.
So
It's
let me
easy, it's a
just so that
survey.
I understand. Let's say it's you, it's me, or it's one of our kids. They take the snapshot,
Mhm.
then they get a report or something from that, or no,
Yeah.
or then they set up a time.
Yep. So right after they complete the snapshot, the algorithms all kick out and they get their, or they complete the survey, sorry, they get
Yeah.
a snapshot. It's a one
Yeah. Yeah.
page.
Yeah.
All right. So it tells them at the top what their top 5 motivations that they chose. They chose them. They chose what they mean by that. Okay. And then it puts in there, they choose, they'll have 3 do's and 3 don'ts. Here, when you're communicating with me, here's the 3 do's.
Yeah.
Here's 3 don'ts when communicating with me.
Yeah.
And then at the bottom is a hard, soft nature. That tells us how they receive feedback.
Mm,
And so then it kicks out a little educational piece about them, but then the website has all the interactive tools on it to learn more about
okay.
each of those.
Okay.
But now, like in corporate America on teams, we would come out, hey, they want us to come out and do coaching,
Yeah.
right? To move that team and culture along. The family side is pretty dynamic as well. Like I said, when you have that, you'll have the quote unquote instructional manual of how to interact with your children. I mean, our
Uh,
snapshots hung on our pantry door for 15 years.
Really? That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. Okay. So, all right, dignify.com. We're going to put in the show notes, and I'll let you, Joni, tell about the offer that we have for
Yep.
all of the listeners.
Yep. So Joe Kinninger wants to offer all your listeners to take a free survey to get their dignity snapshot.
Thank you
And
very
they
much
just,
for that kind offer.
yep, they just go to dignify.com and put in Jim Oliver, no space between your first and last name, and then
Okay.
they'll get a free snapshot.
Perfect.
And they'll be able to go forward and see what that is. And I think the biggest thing too, one of the things that it kicks out, and you'll see in there on the website, Jim, is it's called My Story.
Okay.
And that's huge in family situations. It's actually huge in any situation, but most of the time when our kids hit the teenage years, as you well know, if we can get 5 to 10 minutes with them a week, we're doing good.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
So,
That's not, I mean, yeah, Ronnie's right. We're right in this position where one child is going to get their license in the next couple of months. And I said,
yeah,
okay, you got 2 months to see her, and then
yeah,
that's going to be it.
yep, that's
And she's like,
right.
no, she's going to be, and I'm like, no. I mean, yes, she might do a virtual school, but she'll be in a room doing virtual school. Then she'll be at work, and then she'll be with her friends. And then you'll be like, when are you coming up? that's going to be your communication for the day.
Yeah.
What time are you going to be home? I've
And
just done it, like I
yeah.
said, 4 times, and it's like magic when they get that license and they have a vehicle. It's like, but again, you got to be responsible. You got to have a job. You got to do these other things, and so it's interesting.
Yeah.
It's funny what we teach. You know, our kids, because one of the things that we say is everything that you've been taught about money is a lie. Everything that you've been taught about
Yeah.
really how to
Yeah.
learn, I
Yeah.
think, is kind of a lie.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and I think it's really sitting kids in a classroom. My understanding is that came from the military, and it was to train soldiers. And if you don't want your child, nothing wrong with your child. In fact, my granddaughter wants to join the military. She's a JROTC girl. She wants to use the military to further her education. I'm all for all of that stuff. So I'm not saying, but I'm saying a good soldier says, they say, point there, shoot there, like that. And there's a great book by Robert Kiyosaki called Why A Students Work for C
C
Students.
students. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love his explanation. And, with your background in education, and like you said, you homeschooled your kids and at one point in time, and like, do you see that as being true, that the C student is the one that goes out and starts businesses, and
Yeah.
we're not afraid to fail? Now,
Right.
somebody calling me a C student would have been a real compliment. So, it's kind of like saying I played football, like, well, that's really nice of you to say that.
Yeah, yeah, that's right, that's right. No, I
Yeah.
I I I think so. I mean, I don't like to silo a whole lot, but I do think there is a lot of truth to that. I loved Kiyosaki's books, and that one in particular. And I think too that the key is the love for learning, whether you're a C student or
Yeah.
an A student. But I do think there's validity in that C student is not afraid to take risk.
Yeah.
What found, and having been a recovering person in this, because I did get straight A's, but
Yeah.
I love to learn, but sometimes my identity was wrapped around that. And I think a C
Yeah.
student doesn't have their identity oftentimes
Yeah.
wrapped around that grade by that
Yeah.
institution. So they've learned to not be siloed as much maybe as some of the others. And that was a thing that I was seeing coming when I got back into coaching,
Yeah.
is so much of the system, whatever system we want to call it, was labeling and siloing kids.
Yeah.
And even in corporate America, you can
Yeah.
label and silo kids or adults. And what I liked about the Dignify tool is it takes those down and it empowers that person. When they see what's great about them, they have their story. And I tell our kids this all the time, all my athletes, make dignity deposits. Make them
Hmm.
into yourself.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
let the outside world do that. And I think that's part of the learning. And the kids will go, I can, because there's 4 countries for broader language: control, peace, fun, perfect. Well, the reason they were set up like that, Jim, is because I prefer to live in control fun country. But when I pick up my irons, I need to swing out of peace country.
I
Easy,
understand.
efficient, right?
Yeah.
So in the sports arena, we've done enough of this. We can help coaches, and Joe, like I said, does it on corporate side. When I communicate drills or communicate vision and mission, I make sure I'm communicating out of those. Well, people will say in the coaching world, oh, it's going to take a year to fix her footwork. It'll take a
Yeah.
year for him to catch the ball with his hands instead of at his chest. And I say, nah, not with Dignify. They can make those behavioral changes very quickly, because all we asked them to do was go from control country to peace to swing the club. Or,
Yeah.
hey, we're going to hit high hands. I didn't, because before it was almost like we're asking people to become something they're not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And
I
then
agree.
they almost
I
accuse
love
you of
that.
lying.
Yeah. I love that. It's kind of like, if, since I love your golf analogies and the irons. So like, it's kind of like if somebody said to me, uh, hey, swing the club like Freddie Couples. And for people who don't know, Freddie Couples probably has some of the best tempo of anybody that's ever swung a golf club, right? But if you talk to Freddie Couples, he's really laid back and he kind of has kind of a cool, soft,
Yeah.
deep voice. And
Yeah.
like he's like, and his rhythm is kind of like this. My energy is more like this. So
Yeah.
I have to me to swing a club like Freddie Couples isn't a goal of mine because it's just
Right.
not me.
Right.
Now John Rahm he brings it back to here and then he just almost like he's pissed at it, but he just turns really hard.
Yeah.
I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm not John Rahm and I'm not Freddie Couples. And those guys are like on the opposite end of the spectrum. And for some of the older golfers, like a Nick Price, remember he just slash at it.
Yeah.
And then there's Freddie Couples who looks like he's never ever going to actually get the club to the ball. And then it goes forever. And because
Yeah.
it's in that little space, it's fast.
Yeah.
Everywhere else, it's nice and rhythm, boom. And it's
Yeah.
like that's why they call him boom boom, right? Back in the
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
so I really like this. I think that anything that you can do that reveals something to you about you and how you really identify yourself and who you are is, like I always say, adversity introduces a person to themselves. It's one of my favorite
Mhm.
quotes, right?
Mhm.
It's an old quote. So it used to be adversity introduces a man to himself. But like we're beyond, even like that Earl Nightingale, The Strangest Secret from the 50s. I always tell women when they listen to it that I refer them to listen to it as I said, just ignore that. It's the 1950s. The message is amazing. So adversity introduces a person to themselves. I think doing things like your snapshot, and I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
So audience, get
Yeah.
on there and put in Jim Oliver and get a free
Yeah.
snapshot. I'm
Yeah.
going to do it because I love learning at 60 years old. I'm halfway and
Yeah.
I'm going
Yeah.
to, spend the next 60 to 80 years learning more and more about myself. When I was at the doctor, as cause we were going to record yesterday, the doctor said, well, a lot of this stuff is, your spine is just like it's 60. And I said, that's weird. I'm only 35 and how is my spine 60?
Yeah.
And he laughed and I said, no, my biological or my metabolic age
Yeah.
is 42 years old or something like that. Like, how come my spine can't adapt to that?
Right. Right.
So apparently it doesn't.
Yeah.
But with a little bit of help, we can get it back to, I
Yeah.
believe that God created our bodies to heal themselves. And apparently mine needs a little help, but
Yeah.
nobody created these therapies. God created them. These people discovered them. So I'm gonna go with some of the therapies that are not involving a scalpel. But
It's good. That's good.
all right, as we
But
wrap up, I got
Mhm.
two questions for you.
Okay.
One is with all the teaching and coaching and things that you've done, what's the best advice anybody's ever given you?
I think it is living loved is not something to be achieved, but rather a reality we relax into.
Well, I love that. Wow, that's a good one. All right, Heather, make sure you put that in the show notes because I love that one. That's awesome. And where did you get that?
I am not really sure where I heard that years ago, but
Yeah,
when I was in the middle of discovering myself with Dignify
yeah,
and making it about the how to for both of us to right? It's not just an single assessment tool, it's a how to that we both can relate. I
yeah,
was finding that that was something I was struggling with. It's just relaxing into it
yeah,
and finding out who I am and the things that were great about me. I mean, like most people, you get tore down a lot in life. And so, okay, this is just something I need to relax into. It's
yeah.
okay, being valued. So, mhm.
I love it. Audience, write down that quote. It'll be in the show notes. All right, last question, Joni. If God came down from heaven and only allowed you to retain the knowledge that you've received from one book, what would that book be and why?
Well, you said I can't use the Bible. That would be my first
You
one. But
because half my audience, we have an avatar, we have a niche, and my guess, I would say 70% of them are Christians, and we're all going to say the Bible,
the
and then
Bible,
then I might as well come up with a different
there
question.
you
But
go.
if you say the Bible, which you can, just
Yeah.
tell me your favorite book and why.
I would probably do John Eldridge's Wild at Heart.
Love it, love
Yeah,
it.
just being that the freedom to, right, breaking through silos, breaking through boundaries that have been put on us or stereotypes
Yeah,
is really settling into the value of who we are.
yeah,
And
I love that book. Yeah. It's a great reminder.
And I think that's part of probably what led me to Dignify as well, because I can go out now and have a tool to do that for other people, is everything to celebrate what's great about them.
I love that because, there's a lot of assessments out there that tell you what you're good at and what you're bad at. Right. And I know this isn't an assessment, and I like that because, then there's other people that say, well, you work on the things that are your areas of development, or no, you don't worry about those. You have somebody else take care of those, and you work on the things that you're
Right.
uniquely qualified to do. Whatever you want to call that. There's all kinds of God-givenness
Yeah.
and unique ability and blah 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 blah. I'm not saying none of those things are bad. They're all
No,
very
no.
good.
Yeah.
But I love that you're focusing on the positive, right? And you're saying this is how you like to communicate. This is how you like to be coached. This is how you like to be talked to.
Yeah.
And
Your
it's not
drivers.
something
Yeah.
that your parent came up with, or your coworker, or your boss, or your subordinates.
Right.
It's you came up with this.
Yeah. And
And
I think it
so,
takes it one step farther, Jim,
yeah,
is then it tells you and I how to interact together.
love it.
It
I
tells you
love
how
that.
to interact with your teammates. It's not just self-awareness.
So this might be
And
something good for two people that were getting married in the next month or something
yeah,
because sometimes I could use some help there, Joni.
yeah. Businesses, all the above, families to coaches to all
Yeah.
the above. And I think that's why I'm so excited about it and have worked with it for so long and could tell you thousands of stories, but it really is the how to. It's that self
Love it.
awareness, but then it's the how to on the team.
Yeah.
And if teenagers can drive it, then I knew it
Yeah.
could be driven in corporate, and that's where it's taken off. So
I love it. I love it. All right, audience, go to dignify.com, check
Yep.
it out.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joni, for being here,
Yeah.
for sharing that. I feel like we could talk about this for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
And really the thing is, audience, is we have Joni on here today for you guys to go to dignify.com and get a free assessment and check it out. I mean, if action cures all fear, so like just do it. Get on there and check it out and see who that can help in your life. And I know just in my brief conversations before recording with Joni, she's got a servant's heart, and I appreciate your company and your organization, your background, your mindset, your attitude. So thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And audience, we're going to wrap this up like we always do with the incredible words of Earl Nightingale and The Strangest Secret. And the strangest secret is whatever you think, you will become. So watch your thoughts, audience. Until next time.
Here's the key to success and the key to failure. We become what we think about. Now let me say that again. We become what we think about.
Once again, thank you so much for taking the time to hear what was shared on today's podcast. If you are looking to discover new wealth building strategies, join our free online community and get access to free courses and in-depth training videos designed to help you build wealth and break away from the herd. Click the link in the show notes to access the community today. Thanks again for listening.